Let's talk, shall we? Let's move on and talk Bibby Stockholm. You'll all be familiar with what this is, right? It is the barge which is holding asylum seekers. Well, a Labour MP now, Nadia Whittome, she has been over there. She's complaining that the Tories won't let her on board. She wonders what on earth they're hiding. So she's been interviewing, talking to the so-called residents aboard. Let's have a little listen.
I'm back in Parliament after meeting with residents of the Bibby Stockholm. Their testimony was emotional and harrowing. The men I met said it felt like living in a prison.
I mean, give me a break.
She's the new Kate Adie. There she is. She's been into the danger zone. And actually, there's two things here. I think she does, as a Member of Parliament, I think she's right, that she should be allowed onto the vessel and have a look, because it's proper that these things, there be some form of scrutiny.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
So
but
650 MPs all decided they wanted to have a little gander. You'd let them all on board in the interest of scrutiny. It's not a tourist destination.
But that's not happening, is it? But this is an MP saying, I want to go on there. I think she should be allowed on. It's silly not to let her on, because she's an elected Member of Parliament. However, should conditions be better? Well, you know, should they be put in the Dorchester? Should they be given smoked salmon, silk pyjamas? Or should they be given conditions that are all right but not so great, because you don't really want to become a magnet to attract more asylum seekers? I probably tend to that latter view.
So you think it's fine as it is, basically?
Well, I haven't been on board, so I issue that caveat. I haven't seen it for myself,
pictures.
But I am not. My heart is not bleeding for those guys.
Kevin?
What are you asking me?
Well, what I'm asking you, I'll cut straight to the chase, right? I'll cut straight to the chase. The problem is I feel so strongly about this that if I'm not careful, me just on my own, I could fill the whole rest of the programme ranting about this. I'm trying to hold myself in.
What annoys you the most? And I'll answer that.
I'll tell you what annoys me the most, right? There are people in this country that are absolutely desperate right now. I'll give you a tiny, small example. Last night on my way home from here, I drove past a guy. Yeah. I drove past a guy, right? He was on the floor in this kind of street, like a little gap on the street. It was snowing. It was absolutely freezing cold. The guy just had a sleeping bag on. Anyway, I got in touch with this charity, Streetlink, they're called. Great service they do. You know, I respect all of them. Anyway, so when I see people like that on the streets of Britain, I feel heartbroken. Then, when I then cross to a group of people who have proactively made a choice to leave a safe country, which is France, lots of them just discard their documents. They make it very difficult for their claims to be processed in a timely manner. They get given a safe, respectable, decent environment that actually tops a lot of the facilities that many of my viewers at home will have access to. They have prompt access to healthcare, they have leisure facilities, they have mental health support, and they have lots of support care wrapped around them. When you then have the audacity to use this as a political football and suggest that those people should somehow be likened to being prison inmates, I think it's downright offensive to every single person that struggles in this country. I also think it's quite reflective of the fact that Labour, in my view, I would be concerned that the Labour Party would be prioritising the needs of those people that have made that proactive choice. And let's face it, they're probably a little bit disappointed, because the reason that they've come is they've seen their mate on TikTok broadcasting their 4-star hotel, and they're a little bit gutted that they didn't get the same treatment.
OK. So, where to start?
I told you, I could keep going, but I won't.
So, I utterly reject the idea that the Labour, or the suggestion that the Labour Party would put the needs of people held in places like the Bibby in front of homeless people in our own country or people with their own needs. What's happened here, I agree that the prioritisation of this issue by her as a Member of Parliament, and there was a small number of MPs, 6 I think, that signed a letter recently alongside with 100 organisations in this country asking for this facility to be shut down. I don't think, as a former Labour parliamentary candidate, party supporter, it should be shut down. I do want it to do things properly and look after people. My observation of it is so far that it is doing that. I don't have a problem with people being searched there so that we know that there's not going to be attacks and weapons. That's fine. And I have a lot of empathy for and take very seriously people who are, and it's the third most popular, most worrying issue in this country, people, immigration and asylum. And that's absolutely right for people to be worried about it. But as Quentin said, this MP here has chosen, she's, I think, the baby of the House.
Yeah,
she's
I think she's about 23.
Yeah, MPs do have this right, in my opinion, to prioritise issues that they care about. Me personally, where we are at this moment in time, I think there are 10 other things that I think at least are more pressing, including homelessness, including law and order, including the decline of trust in our public institutions. But I would, and we'll have a 4-hour special, Michelle, if you use the actions of the baby of the House to suggest that the Labour Party are going to put asylum seekers and immigration seekers above others, because I reject that.
There you go. Do you believe that rejection? It's a fair rejection. Does it wash with you guys at home? I just don't like this language, Quentin. When I hear people saying it's cruel, it's inhumane. What is cruel and inhumane about providing people who've chosen to come with a safe, decent place to be? And when somebody very tragically ended their life via suicide the other day, I actually was pretty sickened the way that was immediately politicised, because suicide is one of the biggest killers of men under the age of 50. Men kill themselves each and every single day. We don't know this person's circumstances. It's horrendous that he's chosen to end his life like that. You know, it's heartbreaking when anyone does it. But it was immediately jumped upon as these are awful conditions. This government is, you know, they're essentially murderers, some people would think, for pushing a guy to that kind of extent. It's politicising something, and it infuriates me, the language around it.
I agree with you. Nadia Whittome, she was the baby of the House. I don't think she is anymore. Oh, yes. But she's a young woman who obviously feels strongly about this. I bet if she went onto the streets of Nottingham, her constituency, I don't suppose her concerns would be widely shared.
Do you not?
No.
Because there are an awful lot of people...
No, I don't think she would. I don't think she's speaking up for a constituency. The MPs don't always have to do that. They can sometimes go off on one that they feel strongly about personally. She obviously feels strongly about that. I think she's daft about this. I think she's completely wrong. But, you know, it's her choice.
Can I say one thing to add to this, which is the shame of this is the fact that, in my view, she is naively made some comments there about some of the things you said about safety and comfort, etc. The second half of what she said in that video talks about the backlogs, talks about the failure in processing, and makes some very fair points about the fact that the numbers of people coming over has gone up so much in recent years, and that's been lost. That's been entirely lost by the understandable, in some ways, reactions that folks like you have.
How do you promptly process someone who's deliberately discarded their documents?
That there have to be. I mean, that's just an administration process.
Well, so
right?
tell me then. So if you proactively, and we know that people do this, they proactively discard their identification documents, which by itself would ring an alarm bell with me. But anyway, if they choose to do that, which we know they do, you tell me, because everyone criticises the time taken to process these people, which I agree is too long. If they've discarded their documents deliberately, how on earth do you even begin to process them? OK,
well, the answer, Michelle, is that people have been discarding their documents and saying, I haven't got it on me, since time eternal. And
have they?
Yes, they have. Of course, it's been up.
No, I don't know. I'm not saying they have or they haven't. I'm saying have they? I don't know.
It's kind of what I would conclude that that's always been the case to make it harder for them to be assessed. But the reality is, you know, the numbers of people coming here is 8 times higher under Conservative-led governments. Fact. OK? And people were always before stringing the authorities along because they wanted to try and you know, achieve an objective. It didn't start recently. OK? I take your point. It's not easy.
Yeah, and I think to give Tories the credit, I mean, at the end of the day, there is so many, you know, global kind of upsets and wars and conflicts at the moment. The amount of people wanting to change location, and by the way, I don't blame anyone who wouldn't want to create a better life for themselves. I don't blame these individuals. But now you've got the document discarding, you've got these lawyers that are so smart now. You've got social media encouraging. TikTok's almost like a travel agent.
Yeah, but
no, it is.
No, you're right.
I'm not even joking. He's like a travel agent. That's why I just threw straight to you with a question, because once I get started on this topic,
but that's
I need
also,
to lay
Michelle,
down.
that is why, if you make things not entirely uncomfortable, but if you make them you know, a little bit Spartan, then the message might go out via TikTok. Lads, maybe this isn't such a great place to come to afterwards.
Honestly, I just feel, I know, lots of my viewers will be hard-working people, right, and their tax money, £8 million a day is being spent on things like 4-star hotels, and I just think it is a sheer audacity to then sit there and say, the response to that is, we're cruel and inhumane.
Michelle, I understand your passion, but the people to get angry at are the government who have just failed to get angry. You are really kind. I mean, this is not... Christmas is over. You're being so charitable towards the government for this. They have overseen. It's under their watch. It's out of control.
Well, you tell me, what do you make to it all? There'll be strong opinions out there on both sides, I suspect. Get in touch. Anyway, the Home Office have said we work continuously to ensure the needs and vulnerabilities of those residing on the vessel are met. Asylum seekers are not detained. They are free to come and go as they please. The food provided on the barge meets NHS Eat Well standards. Yeah, I bet it does.
I like the way you read that.
Yeah, and I bet my bottom dollar the food served on that barge is a damn sight better than many people eat in their own homes.
Lucky they haven't got my wife cooking for them. That's all right.
Well, luckily they haven't got me cooking for them as well, quite frankly.